If at first you don't succeed in sleeping, that's what sleeping pills are for. And I'm hoping to catch this just to see if it says air activity detected. And if it doesn't, we are on our way to Rosewood. And if it does, we're probably still on our way to Rosewood, but I'll probably be a lot slower and more careful about it. Because the heavy rain should end this morning. We're supposed to have light fog, but at this point I'm just going to deal with the light fog. Light fog isn't the worst. Okay, looks like we're fine. Why do you think there's always, in the woods, like a bunch of... Oh. Yeah, everything's from nature. Forages, finds an assault rifle. See nature. All natural. Nature's bounty. Yup. Greater Dane is dropping. I paraphrased a little bit. That was a weird bit of latency there for, well, not latency, like the game froze for just a second when I climbed in our vehicle. Alright. So let's get out of here. So we should see a lot less bodies around when we get to that main drag. Because we have been clearing that for well over a week. And between the 2 days of storm and I think we had a day of fog and all that. And the bodies decay every 9 days, or decay over 9 days, or whatever you want to say. We shouldn't have too many left. There'll still be the ones that, like, on that last stretch where we just killed zombies. Sure, I'll take free vitamins. But like I said, I am being careful and just assuming there's going to be zombies. We don't expect them. The reason for that is we did do the unstable update today. We did back up our save ahead of time, though. And the reason I did that was, you know, the foraging changes. People were talking about, like, some map changes and all that kind of stuff, which is all exciting. But sometimes when you get updates, zombie positions will reset. So, like, let's say this zombie came out... Would you come up here? Like, say this zombie was in the police station, even though I've cleaned the police station out many, many times, and it would have all the windows and doors closed or something like that. That zombie could potentially be teleported back to its initial spawn point. At least that's the hypothesis we've got going. But we've had zombies reappear places that they weren't before. And I have been informed that they're not spawns or respawns, that they're zombies that got effectively repositioned. Oh, right, they changed cruise control. It's no longer, you know, like always starting from nothing or always starting what you left off. It's now when you use cruise control, when you hit Shift W, whatever speed you are currently going, it'll start there and then it can increment up and down like before. All right, I'm going to do those push-ups and I'll be right back. Okay, just getting all the stuff updated to mark those push-ups in. I've also had people tell me that sometimes when they move vehicles around, that after an update, the vehicle's position will be reset. So like have towed a vehicle out of the road, and then after an update, the vehicle is back in the road. I haven't seen that one personally. I have seen 100% without question the zombie position reset. Not this run, but with the multiplayer update. We had cleared a house, and we had gone to sleep in a bathroom that had no windows and just the one door, and the whole place had been cleared. And then after the update, when I first opened the save, we actually had a zombie in the bathroom with us. And, you know, there is a second before you actually load in to being able to see that, like, the zombies go active and everything. So when the screen loaded up, I was watching my character shove the zombie off of them. We got that lucky RNG roll where your character successfully just kind of wards off an attack and pushes them away. And that was, like, well into the really CDDA run we had. And luckily, like, just because we got that lucky RNG roll, the moment the game loaded, our character pushed off and I quickly killed the zombie. Alright, so I'm going to have to adjust that because I'm going to have to untrain my old behavior to actually just drive normally and then kick on cruise control. Versus I'm in the habit of, you know, setting it and then just hitting Shift W to turn it back on to right where we left off. I don't think that's a bad thing. I do think it'll have some annoyance to it, but I don't think it's that big a deal. Because it means to go like this, and there we go. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Alright. It's also hard to tell. It's like, these zombies being thrown. Is this reset, or was this just migration and redistribution? It's probably migration. Like, it's probably migration. We drive up and down here. It's probably migration. Hey, Black Mass, how's it going? It's going to take me a while to adjust that cruise control change. I'm going to mess that up a lot. Hey, yeah, Black Mass is the one we raided last night after stream. Had a pretty chill vibe going, all that. So it was really good stuff. Yeah, good to see you. We're just doing our Zomboid here. It may look like I'm playing on low pop, but if you look in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and you see that kill count, you know, 45,000 zombie kills. It looks low pop because they're all dead. I am going to take time to adjust to that. For the record, what you're probably, because it's the button pushing that's different. What it used to do with cruise control before the unstable update is if you hit Shift W and you got to, like, say 25 miles per hour, that's where you left it, and then you stopped and then you got back in your car and you hit Shift W, it would pick up at that 25 miles per hour again. Versus this, it's resetting it back down. And that's because the intended use for cruise control is to be like real life cruise control, which is you get up to speed and then you turn on your cruise control. And so it's just after hundreds of hours or thousands of hours of training to do it that, you know, I'm going to do this every time, aren't I? This is going to be that thing I cannot retrain my brain on. That's like, no, every time. The good news is, like, right now where I'm having to get out again and all that, I do think that was the update may have reset the positions of some zombies, which is fine. Okay, do not hit Shift W. Hit W, get to speed. There we go. But yeah, no, you were, which on that note, actually, I'll go ahead and here in just a second, and I have like a little new player spiel I do, usually 2-3 times a stream to like help people get introduced. I'm just going to find a zombie real fast to begin it. And then I'll walk through some pro tips and all that for people who are brand new. Excellent. Zombie right there, climbing the fence. Okay, for those who are new to Project Zomboid, before you worry about fighting zombies or doing anything else, I would recommend hitting escape, going to your options. Oh no, they've changed this. Alright, this is going to take me up because they've changed it. Cool. All the ones I normally talk through are almost all right here. Where's the blood one? Okay, cool. So, the first thing I'm going to say is if you go down here to where it says blood decals, if you tend to notice as you're playing the game, your performance starts getting a little not great over time. The more zombies you kill, the worse it gets. The longer you play, the worse it gets. There's a good chance this blood decals is the culprit. Basically what happens is every single time you kill a zombie, it puts a little blood splatter on the wall, on the ground, whatever. It's cool. It's like, hey, I can tell something happened there because there's blood everywhere. The downside is those never go away. There's no cap on them. And so as you play through, you just add more and more and more and more, and eventually it will become a performance issue. So if you reach that point where you start having performance stuff, you can take this blood decals and turn it to none. And that'll fix that. I'm actually looking because there's new settings here. Oh, you can lower the fog quality. This is all good. Looks like this should actually mean you could change a lot of stuff that could potentially really improve stuff. This is really nice. I like this. So I'll have to look into all those settings later. But the big things that you want to consider are up here. So by default, I believe at this point your ISO cursor visibility should be at 50%. If it's not, like by default it's there, but if it's not at one of those, I highly recommend 50 to 75%. I'll show you what that is in a minute. And then you have the show mouse cursor while aiming. This is a preference thing. Some people like it, some people don't. But that's when you hold your right mouse button, your cursor disappears. I can tell you, if you are in a fight and you lose track of your mouse, you will probably die. This can help avoid that. It is a preference. If you like it, great. If you don't use it. But the biggest one here is this aim outline. By default is on ranged weapons. I 100% recommend it being on any weapon, and I'll show you why in a minute. Oh, lock cursor to window, that's cool. So now, if I go back in here, so you'll see this stick with a circle. That's where my mouse, or this is where my character's aiming, not my mouse cursor, that stick. You'll notice it's about the same height as a zombie. That's where I'm aiming. So first, let me kill a couple zombies so I'm down to just one or two. Alright, so I have the one zombie here. You see that green outline around the zombie? That tells me it's in range. Now, you notice I'm not aiming at the zombie. I can aim way back here, and that will hit. One of the mistakes I see a lot of people are new make is they'll put it right here, and it's really easy to accidentally, like, flip back and over. That's a problem. Another thing you can do is if a zombie falls down, whether, you know, you've hit them with a weapon, they get shoved, they climb over something, you can stand on zombies to pin them to the ground, and they're like a non-threat to you so long as you or another zombie is standing on them, with the exception of if they're a crawler, don't stand on crawlers. Normally I would do a whole gag where I eat my salad, and then I make another salad, and I really just exaggerate the point that this zombie's not an issue anymore. But I don't really need to do it, so I'm not going to. But yeah, so standing on zombies is a good way of taking them out of the fight. Don't feel like forcing yourself to stand on the sabid, or stand there. A lot of people like to sneak around. I actually find sneaking can be more of a trap than a help. And the reason for that is if you're sneaking around, for example, like let's just say theoretically I'm going down this road, there's a horde over here, there's a horde over there, and I'm sneaking because I don't want to fight them. But then behind the trees right here is a horde. I walk up and I aggro, so I have to turn around and back off. Then I'll pick up these other hordes because now all these zombies are making noise. And so not only taking a situation where I could fight 5 zombies here and 8 zombies there, and be slow and meticulous and methodical and take care of them, now I'm suddenly in a situation where I'm being overwhelmed. So that can be very helpful to get away from the sneaking around habit and just going, okay, we're going to have to fight these zombies. Let's fight the zombies. Yeah, the Gravitation is like, no salad bit. I know, I'm sorry. It is a fun bit. The other things that I didn't have a good zombie in position to demonstrate with the outline is, I noticed some people's like, but the outline ruins my immersion. And I get it, it does. But like, you can run into situations where like this truck can fully obscure a zombie behind it where you can't see it, where your character would be able to see it in real life. Like, I'm standing here, the zombie's there, and I can't see it at all. But if you have your weapon up, when you get close enough, it'll put the green outline through the truck so you can still know that the zombie's in range and all that. And that'll save your life. But low-key also, the aim outline can be extremely useful for knowing which zombie you're going to hit, because that can actually be important. The one example I tend to point out is if I have a zombie that is crawling at me, and a zombie that is getting up from being knocked down in roughly the same distance. That zombie body just disappeared because 9 days have passed. Your character will usually prioritize the zombie getting up, which I personally feel is incorrect. But yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, the inventory is very context menu-y. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's not particularly exciting or inspired or anything. I wouldn't disagree with that. Ooh, sorry. Oh, and another thing that's really helpful. I'm gonna do this bit. So let's say here I'm gonna eat my potatoes to get this bowl empty. Oh, okay, that's the fish. I was about to say, like, hang on. So let me put that away. So if we look, I'm sure I've got some broccoli here. This broccoli is stale, it's limp, it's not rotten, but it's disappointing. So it's gonna make us bored and unhappy if we eat it. Now, through the magic that is the power of bowl, if I now take that same exact broccoli, see, and I put it in a bowl, suddenly it makes us happy. So bowl is very powerful. That's just the way cooking works. So you can, oh, and if you get cooking over 8, yep, that's rotten. Don't worry about it. We'll just cook with it anyways. That is something that happens when you get your cooking up high enough, is you can use rotten ingredients and it still works. But yeah, so cooking is super powerful. And then there's certain things you can carry with you to make cooking much easier. And one of those things is just carry around a bowl. I'm going to... My brain is not going to handle that we have changed the way cruise control works. Like, I think this is for the better the new way. I just have to untrain months of training it to do it this certain way. Yeah, magic bowl, happiness is life. 100%. Like you'll see as soon as I find a bowl, it is in my inventory. And when I start at 0 to hero kind of build, where we have when I start my character, I have 0 strength, 0 fitness, 0 combat stats, like no stats to speak of. Like this whole screen is completely empty when I start. I only get 6 kilograms of carry weight when we start that way. If I see a bowl, I will take it. All right. Thank you for the work, and thanks for the host. You have a, I was gonna say fun at work, but I guess you have a good work day. So thank you for dropping in. And those who missed yesterday we rolled this truck. Like, I was only going like 20 miles per hour, but we hit a pile of zombies and just went bloop onto the side, which is deeply upsetting, not only because of like the truck being tipped over, but because I had to walk all the way back to Ekron from Rosewood on foot to go get a vehicle to recover it. Which basically wasted, you know, effectively 2 days. 1 day because we tipped over the truck, and the next day because to get the truck back. Hey, Insane Spork, how's it going? Yeah, I very much enjoyed the raid we did yesterday for Black Mass. I can't, like, I was like, okay, who are we going to raid? You know, I had a couple people that I raid fairly often. My brain is never going to handle that cruise control fairly often, and I was like, let's find someone new, someone like someone who doesn't have a lot of viewers or anything, and then just like, I think his title was something like new to the game, eager to meet the community or something like that, or like meeting the community or whatever, and I just hopped as like, how would you like to meet the community, before I actually fired off the raid. And he's like, sure, and then just dropped a raid on him. Felt pretty good. It's all good on this side of the net, says Insane Spork. Just finished dinner. How am I doing? I'm doing good. My brain can't handle the changes to the cruise control, even though they're better. It's just every single time it's like, oh right, I want to get to speed, then turn on the cruise control, not the other way around. And my brain is not handling that. Even though that's how actual cars work. just in-game. It's a lot of months of training my brain to work a certain way that I have to untrain. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the unstable update. Like, the changes to foraging are way better. Because, like, that was my big complaint. It's like, did you know that helmets bother it? No. Did you know that this bothers it? No. Did I know that this bothers it? No. Yep. Yeah, no, it's just, it's like a real car. You drive to the speed you want, you turn on your cruise control, and now you're cruise controlling. Versus, like, Project Zomboid had it where you would set your cruise control to a speed, and then when you turned it on the next time, it would just go back to that speed automatically. This is resetting it every time. And maybe there's a button to just resume cruise control or something that I haven't learned. I should actually check that in a minute, because it'd probably be down there. But, I do think it's better. Because especially it could be really bad at times where you don't want to resume at speed. And, like, there wasn't an easy way to, like, reset the cruise control. At least not that I remember. Maybe there was a button shortcut to reset it, but you'd have to do this thing where you'd, like, down the cruise control, stop, down the cruise control, stop. Yeah. It doesn't look like they have any new things there. And where you probably saw that and you're like, wait, it doesn't say WS, it says, like, O and comma or whatever it is. Come on. Okay, I guess it doesn't show while you're moving. Interesting. That's because I don't use a QWERTY keyboard. Interesting. It's not showing again. I mean, honestly, incrementing up from 0 isn't even that bad, because you can just kind of hold it and it just toggles up, and it's not too slow doing it. So I might even just keep doing that. Because, like, if I'm trying to get away, I'm not turning on cruise control, I'm smashing the gas pedal.
Deadvision 13 just subscribed. Thanks for all the entertainment over the last few months.
Thank you for the sub, Deadvision. Now you can enjoy yourself even more ad-free on the stream, and thank you for re-upping it for 2 whole months. And I hope you continue to enjoy those emotes. For those who didn't notice, we did add more emotes this past week. For those who are just following, congratulations. You now have 5 emotes because Twitch made that a thing I can do. It didn't used to be a thing. So everyone who follows has some emotes. Subscribers, we took some of the emotes that we took, because I took some of the emotes from subscribers and moved them down to follow. And then replaced those with other emotes. Let's see. Dr. Bubbles96 says, every time I try quickly updating the CC, my computer exits out of the game and gives me this sticky key menu. It's dumb. Oh! Yes, so you can actually go into Windows setting, it's under accessibility, and you can turn off sticky keys. It is an accessibility functionality for people with motor function issues, stuff like tremors and that kind of stuff, to make it so they can do certain stuff in the game, like that sticky key functionality helps. But you can disable that. But I do believe it's under Windows settings accessibility. I don't remember exactly where it is, because I do know with Windows 10 and 11 that they've kind of moved stuff around a little bit. But you are looking for the functionality called sticky keys, and you can just flat out disable it if you don't want it. But it's detecting you, I think it's you holding shift for more than 5 solid seconds or whatever is what it's picking up on. Because it does the thing where you hold the key for long enough, it just goes beep, beep, and then sticky keys, it brings up the prompt. You can also just sit there and I think even in the prompt you can sit there and tell it, like, don't prompt me or whatever. But yeah. If you have accessibility concerns that sticky keys are helpful, great, use it. If you don't, just turn it off. The one I do need to, like, I think it's fine, but the thing I am finding I'm doing here is I'll hit the Shift W to turn it on, thinking it's just immediately going to go back up to 25 or whatever, and it goes to 5, and I stop for a second, it's like, oh, right. So doing this, it'll be a habit I'll adjust. It'll take a little while, but I will adjust. You're just going to see a lot of times where I'm going to get in the vehicle, and I'm going to go, like, no speed at all for a couple seconds before you can tell, like, it takes a second. It's like, oh, right. The thing that keeps happening every 2 seconds is still happening. I see those zombies. I'm going to drive right past them, and then turn back and kill them. Yeah, the body count on the road is way lower than it was, which is good. Because, one, that's a sign of progress. Because if we're going farther without killing as many zombies, that means we are successfully clearing the area. And 2, it means it's also good that I'm not having to go and deal with all those bodies in the road. Am I going to be checking out Elden Ring? There is a really good, like, I'm absolutely going to play it. That is one thing that is, like, going to happen. I've played pretty much every Dark Souls game there's ever been. So far, stuff that came out of the computer. If it didn't come out of the computer, then it wasn't on a platform I have, and therefore I didn't play it. But if it did come out of the computer, I have played it. I'm a huge fan of the series. I've done them all, gotten all the achievements in all of them. But the thing that is up in the air is, as I mentioned previously, RimWorld has not been doing as well on Twitch lately. The viewership and viewing time have been going down steadily for a while now. And it's kind of reached that point where it's like, okay, I think it's time to take it off as a main game on the channel. And I had anticipated that being something probably not even this week, but next week happening. And then we finished the run as expecting to have at least 3 more streams on. And by finished, I mean we won. We didn't even die. We finished the run. And I went, crap, I expected to have more time. So I do have a poll going on right now in the Discord that's got a list of games that I'm considering having replace RimWorld. Right now it's got Path of Exile, Lost Ark, as well as Elden Ring. So that's the list, so if you want to vote in on that, by all means. I also have, people are always welcome to drop game suggestions in the game suggestions channel on the Discord. And the only reason I keep all of that in Discord is not because I'm trying to bully you into using my Discord. It's that way I have one place to look for it. Yeah, if you look on the Twitch UI, it's to the right of where it says like Raw Storage or whatever. And if you're on mobile, I don't know where it is, I'm sorry. But there should be the Discord icon. That should work. I think I have a command ! Discord as well. That should also get the invite link. But yeah, so the game suggestion channels, if it's something not on the list, by all means put there. A lot of times those are the games that, pretty much every time I've done a quote-unquote other games day, the only exception I've had where my other games day wasn't what was suggested in the Discord chat was we had a day that a indie company reached out and said, hey, we got this game, it's launching this coming Thursday. You played a game that we consider like similar to, it means basically the audience for their other game would be the same target demographic as their game kind of thing. And they're like, we'll give you a key and we'll give you a bunch of keys to get out if you play this on stream. And they didn't require me to say like nice things about the game. They didn't require me to not say mean things about the game. I didn't have like talking points or anything I had to cover. Like nothing like that. It was literally just, we have some keys. Do you mind playing our game? And then giving away some keys to your viewers. And I'm like, yeah, sure. That was Time Rift, and we had a good time with it. But that's the only time I've done something that wasn't a game suggestion there. Which, for the record, I did mention it in the Discord that the publisher behind Time Rift actually reached out that they were very happy with the way that stream went. And they're like, hey, you know what? In the future, when we come out with new games, we would be happy to like do this kind of thing again. So it does sound like that's something that's going to happen from time to time, is so long as the game that they're like, hey, we got some new game, do you mind streaming it? Like, we'll give you keys and all that, and keys to give away. Like, that might be a reoccurring thing that we do. So long as the game, like, fits the channel and all that kind of stuff. Like, again, there's no NDAs, no contracts, no agreements, just like, hey, if you stream our game, we'll give you keys for yourself and to give out. I'm like, I'm down. Because, like, honestly, that Time Rift was a lot of fun. It definitely, and I made this comment during the game, is it's like a, it's a puzzle game that you fly like a little spaceship around and everything. And it's cool that, like, there's lots of messing with time and all that to do it. So you have to do, like, this weird thing where you, like, go over your same paths again, like, fast-forwarding and slowing down time and stuff. But, because it's a puzzle game, I was looking at going, this is a fun game. It probably has no replay value. Like, once you've solved the puzzles and you've done it once, you know, you finish the game and you're done. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for a game. It's just, you know, for people to be mindful. It's like, hey, this isn't 1,000 hours kind of game. This is a 5, 10, 15 hours kind of game. And based on what I was told, even by the publisher, as well as what I kind of noticed myself, is it does look like it's probably one of those games you play through somewhere in the ballpark of probably 5 hours. You wrap it up, and then that's probably it. Literally, all of you are just going to ignore me here. How rude. Like, normally I have a couple who just really want to check out the door of the car, and that's fine, but, like, the whole group is just walking past me. Yeah, so it does sound like they do a whole bunch of genres. It's just a publisher for indie games, so it's like, alright, I'm down. Like, usually the diamonds in the rough are in the indie game community. I mean, Project Zomboid's indie, Terraria's indie, Stardew Valley is indie. Minecraft was indie. I mean, now it's Microsoft, but it was indie. And I see those push-ups and the stretch. Once these zombies are managed, we will deal with that. Okay, so just checking one thing real fast. Because I do have a limit of 100 push-ups per stream. One thing that I do need to sit down and do was a suggestion given to me, I think is an excellent suggestion. Yeah, no, and I actually use 24-hour clock all the time as well. On hand stretches, have you ever heard or tried a thumb stretch? One of the stretches, I haven't been doing it on stream, but one of the stretches I have done in the past is a thumb stretch. Same idea as the median glide stretches and all that. Yeah. I've definitely done those before. I used to have an app on my phone that went through like a whole list of all the median glide stretches, thumb stretches, all that kind of stuff, to like kind of work through all the muscles, and it was a super awesome app. The problem was it was just like there's this really common occurrence with those kind of apps. They're like, you know, your daily exercise, they start you on a couple push-ups, couple squats, couple sit-ups, those kind of things. You know, then they'll get you to do a different set of various stuff. But it's all stuff that doesn't require like a bunch of equipment. They're just a range of stuff to work out different muscles, and they'll have like a whole planned rotation and all that. And the problem I ran into, and this has been with a bunch of those apps, is they'll start off where you don't need any equipment to do any of it, and as you go along, like they'll mix up more stretches and all that, you eventually get to the point where like, okay, now you need resistance bands, and here's where you can buy them. Oh, and now you need this piece of equipment, and here's where you can buy it. And you're just like, look, I wanted to, like, even if you just kept giving me the same stretches, just let me do the same things, because what you're doing is giving me the exact same results, but is requiring me to buy stuff that is from like your company or whatever, and I get it. That's your monetization model. I understand. But I don't need your crap. Mashikibi says, I am sure to give both my middle fingers a stretch each and every day, as one would expect. But yeah, so it's one of those things, and the worst thing is, like, it'd be one thing, it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, you know, keep repeating, like, days 11 through 18, like, whatever those stretches, but they don't ever let you go back. It's like they'll have the next day stretches, and you're just stuck with that forever, making it so if you want to continue using that app that you've now gotten yourself trained into a thing of, like, I start my day, I open my workout app, I do my workout, and then, you know, I carry on with my day. Now you can't do that anymore because your workout app is like, now you need to buy all this junk to be able to continue to use the app. And for the record, nothing against, like, resistant band, all that. I just don't much care for that. Like, to me, that's a deceptive business practice. That you're deliberately luring someone in, getting them into a habit, and then you're going, alright, now let's start extracting money out of this person. And, like, that's... I would rather pay a fee to have that app available permanently and not have, like, have them trying to constantly sell junk. It'd be like if I was playing this, and, like, we were watching this and just in the middle stream, like, okay, well, if you want to continue to enjoy this stream, you gotta buy my 3D glasses, because now I'm gonna put this filter for the 3D, and if you don't have it, it's not gonna look... It'd be that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, and that's probably not a bad idea of going, okay, well, I probably should get resistance bands. Cool. It's the fact that they've got that whole thing, like, set up to basically get you to buy their stuff, because, you know, you're going through your morning routine, and then they're like, okay, now you need these resistance bands, and they have the link to buy their resistance bands right there. It's like, I see exactly what you're doing. You're going, oh no, I can't do my exercise. I gotta buy this, like, right now, which means I'm not shopping around for, you know, the best brand, the best, you know, prices, what's got the best reviews, anything like that. I'm just impulse buying because the app has caught me in the moment. Like, don't do that. It's kind of shady. I'd also rather you say, hey, a week from now, we're going to start introducing resistant bands. You should go and get those so you're ready for when we introduce those. And of course they would have their link, but at least then I have the time to go, okay, well, let me look at other places. And then some of the equipment they'd have is like just, they've made this arbitrary variation on an actual piece of fitness equipment, so to do their exercise, you have to use their equipment. And it's like, or I could buy this other thing and do that. It's just, it's not going to match what you're wanting me to buy because you've just made this proprietary thing. It's a racket. The classic, nothing is actually free. Somewhere along the way, someone is making money somehow. And if you're not paying for it, then, you know, someone else is paying for you. And I don't mean in, like, the, I mean literally paying for, like, your information, that kind of thing. Like, Twitch people pay in through, like, subscriber bits, and, like, that's people paying for Twitch directly. Cool. But then you have, like, the advertising thing where the companies are paying money to be, you know, advertising to you. So, like, in that, your eyeballs are the thing being sold. Mashkami says they have such a strange setup that they force you to get their equipment that can only be fitness in their set. Yeah, no, it's 100%. Like, and it's not a new concept. There's been people trying to do that kind of stuff forever, and not just fitness. Like, one of the things, and I know I've talked about this with other people, is it was a whole racket. I think it still is a thing that, with various different cars, makes and model, like, most of the stuff, it's like, you just need wrenches, you just need screwdrivers, like, nothing special. But then they'll have, like, one or two things in a specific car that you'll need a specialized tool that only works with that model of, or is only used by that model of car. Like, for example, the Oldsmobiles in like the mid 80s, it was the tie rod separator was it was a non-standard width between it, not because there was some advantage to it, not anything else. They just changed it that way you couldn't use your typical one. The tangs on it were just too narrow, too close together. And so what you'd do is either one, you'd buy the tool specialty from the dealer or whatever, and it would cost like $80 for a piece of metal that had like no rotating parts, no moving parts. It was just a piece of metal with a gap in the end of it. Or you take a normal tie rod separator that you get for $18-20, and you just grind the space between the tangs to be larger. And like for Mazda, one of the ones they would do is it was like a 27.5mm socket for, I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I ran into that kind of stuff all the time. Mashkami says, actually, I tried to put a Type-C cable into my Nintendo Switch and use for the stand for the Oculus Rift, and the Rift refuses. It's trying to charge. Hey, welcome back, Dark Strider. So what that could actually be, Mashkami, is there's actually different standards of USB-C, because, you know, of course there is. If it exists, there's going to be like 30 standards of it. But there were some USB-C cables that are designed to be able to carry enough power through them, and some that aren't. Like, they're cheap, especially if you buy like Amazon Essentials or whatever. Like, a lot of those are crap made. It's become a real problem where they'll be like, the super budgety doesn't actually adhere to the standards cables. So usually it's best to actually take the time to shop around. But yeah, no, I've had that where it's like, I'll buy like a 3.5mm audio cable. For people who don't know what that is, that's just the single like one little plug that goes in for audio. And it's an audio cable. There's like nothing to it. And you'll actually find that there's crappier versions of that cable that they sell on the cheap that don't even work well. Like you lose signal as you go across, and you're just like, what? It's like, it's such a simple cable. Why is this a problem? Why do I have to research that? Yep. Silo Cybernaut is saying, USB 3.2 has some of the best bandwidth, learned the hard way, didn't know my HDMI cable is from 2007. And that's also those things like, when you buy your HDMI cable, there isn't one HDMI standard. There are newer and newer versions of HDMI that come out every couple of years. I don't know the numbering, but that's one of the things I had to watch was, I wanted to get an HDMI splitter because I do have an Oculus Rift from way back. And, you know, those have to have sufficient bandwidth on the HDMI and all that like HDMI 1 was not good enough for. And so it is one of those things I had to kind of figure out was finding an HDMI splitter that actually was a decent splitter, because there's so many that are like, it's HDMI 1. It's like this thing you buy for a couple of bucks and is otherwise pretty useless. Oh man, that's just tearing through our gas now. Not like gas is going to be a problem kind of tearing through the gas, but tearing through the gas and the fact that I have to fill it up frequently kind of tearing through the gas. That's the big reason I didn't want another freezer. But we're here, it's set up. I'm going to leave it up until such point that... Do I have a shovel before we do this? Do I have a shovel or a hoe? Yeah, I got a hoe. Okay. But I'm going to leave it till like winter rolls around, and then we eat enough food that I don't have use for the freezer anymore. Probably could actually take that freezer down, the fridge freezer, because I'm not using the fridge part of it for anything meaningful. I just have water chucked in it, and water doesn't need to be refrigerated. How do you get grass on your tiles? Does it grow on the dirt or just place over time? Oh, grass just grows over time. There is stuff like there's a dirt trail. Usually I don't think grass will ever grow in there. Like it's a not grassed tile. I don't know if there's a way to put grass on a tile though. Like if I was like, I want to grass this tile. I've never looked into that because it's just never been something I've been like, oh, that's something I would want. But I could certainly see where that is something that'd be desirable. Alright, put that away for now. Grab this. Okay, so I definitely want to grab more food for tomorrow. Oh, right, those fish are actually huge. That's right. I don't need to worry about that right now. Gotcha. Yeah, that's not a big deal.